Welcome to another episode of Talk Tough Talk Tuesday with the Heavy Bag Boxing. I'm your host, Robert Alexander. Alongside me is the man, Lucas Biggers, and the First Lady, Shakura. Should we say First Lady, guys, anymore? Maybe not, but we'll get into that.
like it.
We'll get into that along with some other topics here. Um, Give me just a minute, guys.
What, you ain't ready? You ain't prepared for the show?
Now wait just a minute. Then you gotta keep going. What's the first topic?
All right, so I had to get my stuff ready. I'm on social media and everything. I just want to give a little quick special shout out to my lady out there who's listening right now. Jenny, happy birthday, baby. It's your birthday.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to give a shout
Are
out
you
to
using
my
my
lady.
show right now to pimp?
Happy birthday, baby girl. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. This past Saturday we had a big card. We actually had for the first time we had a dual card actually this weekend with fights on DAZN, and then you had your fights on Showtime. Of course, that Showtime card was a little tainted with the missed weight opportunity, but let's just jump right in with your thoughts first on David Benavidez stoppage. I'm gonna go with you, Shakura, right now. With the first question here, but Shakura, was the stoppage to be expected, or did he really look good even though he came in overweight?
Ah, this is a tough question for me because I have no idea. I feel like Angula was right there to be hit, so he was able to practice his combinations and really show his authority in the ring. My issue with Benavidez, and it's been that way for quite some time now, is just how much bigger he is than most of his opponents at that super middleweight level. I really feel like that's not his true weight class. And I felt that before he did not make weight. So I can't be impressed when you actually win and dominate somebody that's a true super middleweight or middleweight even. Because if I'm not sure, Angulo had not fought other than Ramirez. I believe he was at middleweight, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure that it's like he just recently moved up. But my thing is with Benavidez is that I like the fact that he was acknowledging the fact that he didn't make weight and that there was no excuses. And the guy is still really only, I know I said he's only 21 when he got in trouble last and lost his belt for too much partying. But now he's only 23. He's still a baby. So we can expect him to be going through some growing pains. So while I'm not impressed with his win, I just have to accept the fact that hopefully we'll get to see him in there with someone that is equivalent to him soon, and that's in
You,
skill level, talent level, and also weight level.
you know that honestly, that's a fair assessment. With it, but to be honest, I still was impressed with the stoppage, and the reason why I say that is because you're either overweight for one or two reasons. You were too lackadaisical in training camp, or you really have a problem reaching that weight. Or it also could be some little minor adjustments that you didn't make. And let's be honest, with COVID, I just think he didn't make those minor adjustments. I thought he didn't look good in the weigh-in, but he came in and he did his thing. Even when he came off the ropes, he came off the ropes with authority. And those shots that he was hammering the guy with, he had to quit. So I was really impressed with David Benavidez. Lucas, what about you though? I see you kind of shaking your head a little bit.
Man, I'm not impressed with nothing like that. Come on, man. He's a weight bully. A weight bully. Move
I
up.
was trying to stay away from that word.
No, no,
You
man. Move
said
up.
it.
Move up and fight somebody tougher. Like, no, no. Okay, Canelo. Okay, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Like, stop shrinking them as low as you can to detriment to fight somebody. No, fight somebody your own weight. I'm done with this.
Well, then, with that being said, Lucas, let me come to you with this question. Now, we have other topics here, so let's not get into other names or anything like that. But even though he did lose the belt on the scale, do you think he deserves a chance or another shot at actually winning that title soon?
I mean, he had the title, so I'm not gonna say he doesn't deserve it, but I don't think really he should be fighting at this weight. I don't like guys that do that, and I don't think my opinion's gonna change here. I don't. He needs to go up and then fight for a title at a weight that actually fits him.
So Shakura should that weight be 175?
Um, yeah, we can start there. I don't think it's 168. I know that. And
Mm-hmm.
now that there's
Okay.
actual maybe a problem with him being able to make that weight, to me that seems like his best option, right? It should just go ahead and pull the band-aid off and move up to the weight class that you're supposed to be in.
Well, I disagree with both of y'all. Okay.
Who's that?
I,
So you gonna
I
tell me it's 2 against 1 tonight, right now in this
well, it
topic?
is.
So
It is. And I'm going to tell you why I disagree with both of y'all. He should not move up to 175. There are fights down there at 168. When he made the honest assessment, he made a mistake. And I understand that. But what y'all are failing to realize is people see this as the second time he lost the title. But the first time wasn't due to weight issues. He's never had weight issues throughout his career. He is a young fighter, and he was only 3 pounds, almost 3 pounds overweight. He wasn't even 3 pounds over the limit. And COVID does place certain restrictions that you're not used to. So if he was used to actually losing the weight prior to the weigh-ins, a night before, whatever the case may be, you don't have that luxury with COVID now. You have those restrictions in place. There are legitimate fights at 168 for him. There are big fights at 168 for him. With that being said, let's get into this next topic, y'all.
so you think
Jump
you
right
want
in.
to end it like that after you got put words in both of our mouths? Neither
Yeah.
one of
Because
us is saying that he shouldn't be at that weight because he can't make weight. We're saying that before this even last incident of not being able to make this weight, that he was already considered a weight bully. That's what we're saying. We're saying that he already was not in the weight class that he should be in.
right. So hold that topic for later on during rapid fire. I might have something for you there. Let's go ahead though and move into this next topic because this next topic kind of moves into what we're just talking about. Lucas, anything from the fans before we move into this?
No, not really. Pretty quiet today so far.
So, guys, spanking new off the presses today. The WBC has ordered a fight for Benavidez' vacant title between Canelo Alvarez and Avani Yildirim for that vacant title that Benavidez just gave up. Now, before I ask your reactions to this, let me just say this. It was also noted and stated that prior to the WBC making this decision, Canelo put his claim or put his stake into the fact that he wanted to fight for the vacant title. I'm just going to let you know right now. To me, that is bullshit.
It's funny you say the
Okay?
word steak when referring to Canelo.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. But to me, that is bullshit. And let me tell you why. Why did you not want this title when Benavidez held it? Why weren't you in this fight against Benavidez? Why wait until Benavidez gives up and loses the title on the scale? Now all of a sudden your ass wants a piece of it. That's my question. We'll
All
start with
right,
you, Lucas, since you're ready to go. Go ahead.
let's see. Dale Peoples, my opinion, belts were won and lost in the ring. It should have been a non-title belt. This is a different generation of fighters. Marvelous Marvin Hagler stayed at his weight his entire career. So did B Hop.
Excellent observation there. Excellent observation. So, Lucas, let's go first to you then with that question then, Lucas. Um, why should this fight happen? Why should Canelo get a stake at this title?
Canelo's gonna get the stake just because he's worth money. I mean, let's face it, is what it is. Should he be fighting a guy in Yildirim that is coming off a loss for the vacant title? It's not even if Canelo should be earning this title. It's really should Yildirim. Should he be fighting him for a vacant title? The answer's no. A vacant title should be fighting for, like a number one contender spot, somebody that actually has earned a spot in this division, which if Yildirim just coming off a loss clearly does not deserve the chance. So I'm not even going to say Canelo doesn't. Canelo could get a shot. That's fine. He's earned a shot through other fights, even at other weights, whatever. I can see him getting it just off money alone and fan base. My question is, why is he fighting fucking Yildirim? But
So,
maybe you can
well,
answer that for me.
I mean, yeah, I understand that, but Yildirim was the mandatory, and that's the issue. Yildirim was already listed as the mandatory for the winner of the Benavidez fight. So let me go back to you then. Why did Canelo go ahead and try to put his name in the hat after Benavidez lost the title then? Knowing that Yildirim is the most obvious opponent, he wouldn't have to go through Benavidez. You stated it before. I want to hear.
True.
I want to hear you say something.
Pretty much. I mean, when it's a vacant title, it's an easier road. Put it that way.
I expected to hear the word cherry picker from Lucas.
I mean, I said it without saying it, but yeah.
Shakira, same reaction to you. I want to know your reaction to this. Obviously, me and Lucas feel it's a bullshit bout. But what is your take on the whole scandal with Canelo easing inching his way right in there underneath Benavidez?
Well, I mean, the kid set it up for a perfect situation for the WBC to give back a legitimate title to Canelo. So, I mean, it's a making of Benavidez for me. It's like, why, now what has to happen now is if he wants that WBC title belt and Canelo has it, I mean, what's the likelihood of them giving him a title shot? I mean, it's practically none. So, I mean, this is a situation where Benavidez allowed this to happen, in my opinion. But if we look even deeper and we go into the WBC sanctioning body and we realize that, they probably had already told Canelo, like, don't worry, we have to take your title from you right now. We'll give you this Emirate belt. Or no, he has the franchise one. I'm sorry. He has the he already has the franchise title, so we'll give you that for right now. And don't worry, along the line, there's gonna be an opening where we can give you back a regular title at some point, either middleweight or super middleweight. Well, it just so happened that Benavidez fucked up, and this is what happened. Now he gets to have his title back, and I'm not mad at Canelo for that. I'm not even mad with how do you say his name? Litamir?
Yildirim.
Yildirim?
Yildirim, Yildirim.
Yes, I'm not upset with him because, like you're saying, even though he was the mandatory, we have to look deeper and be like, well, why the hell is he the mandatory with his last bout being a loss? I mean, so it's there's a lot to really delve into when you get to how this fight actually occurred. I mean, but if we're gonna face facts, is that Canelo was looking for an easy fight. We saw that before with some of the matchups because he didn't want to have to. Well, Golden Boy and DAZN could not reach the actual magic number to give Canelo what he wanted with a decent opponent. Not saying that Yildirim is not a decent opponent, but that he's willing to get paid or they can justify paying him less. So this was a perfect storm for them. I mean, they had to make a move on it, guys.
I'll buy into that. So you think it was a money move? If that's the case, I'll buy into that because I was just about to call Canelo a coward. But if it's a money move, I'll buy into that, Shakur. You kind of sold me on that. You might have saved him right there.
Well, thanks. It's about time you gave me a compliment on this show.
All right, guys. Is there anything from the fans there, Lucas, or I'm about to move on?
No, I mean somebody asked what about King Roy Jones Jr. and Iron Mike, and I was like, what about him? I'm kind of confused on that comment. So
Well, I
So,
mean, other than it's
go
been
ahead.
moved to November, what else can we say? I mean, I mean, we don't even know that. I mean, the assumed date is like November 28th.
yeah,
We don't have a location secure yet, so I mean, there's not much we can talk about that right now. Um, I would like to get back to Dale's point, though. I mean, when he says B Hop, and of course the marvelous Marvin Hagler stayed at the same weight most of their career. You know, the thing of it is like, does that mean that they were fighting at the weight that their body was really developed for or in? I mean, most likely, yeah. We can say that they were in the weight class that they actually were supposed to be in. With Benavidez, we can't say the same because in
Right,
most cases, he's the taller, he's the bigger guy.
right. But again, I mean, later in the show, I promised you I'll have a topic for you in rapid fire, kind of about the weight.
Okay.
Um, Guys, let's go to this next topic here. I'm saddened to say this. I'm just very sad to say this. But well, not the heavy bags, but boxing's first lady, Lady Cecilia Brackus, was going actually to beat the record for most consecutive defenses, most consecutive victories. She actually was going to beat Joe Lewis's record this weekend. Many of us, and I know all of us here at the heavy bag, expected her to do just that. And she took a loss. It was a very close fight. It was a very entertaining fight over on DAZN. I'm going to say it right now. It was one of their fights of the year from what I've been seeing so far. So let's start off with Sakura because this is her favorite topic. But right now, I just want to get your reaction to this close decision loss for the First Lady.
I mean, for me, I'm just happy with the fact that, you guys are watching female boxing, right? You're watching.
Okay, besides all of that, answer the question.
I mean, for me, I really thought that it was a very close bout. I don't feel like she really beat a champion, especially not a unified champion with that type of long-standing career. If I look at the fight, I could be like, well, who would you rather be in that fight? I'm not sure I come up with a name. In some rounds, you would rather be the winner, McCaskill, and some other rounds, you'd rather be Lady Cecilia Brackets. So for me, that would have been a draw. I don't really feel like she beat a champion the way that you're supposed to beat a champion to get their title. So I'm thinking that there's some politics at work. Is McCaskill going to be more willing to fight a Clarissa Shields? Hell yeah. Whereas we were having a lot of problems with Lady Cecilia Brackets being able to confirm that she wanted that fight. So, I mean, this could have just been some politics as usual. I mean, I think Dale made a comment towards that as well, as far as, it's a business. He damn right. It still is a business at the end of the day. I can't come up with a specific time point that in that fight that I could come up with a necessary clear victor in that fight. When Cecilia Brackets goes back and she looks at that fight, she's gonna be fucking mad at her damn self for getting baited into McCaskill's fight though. And that really made a difference. Because when you're not fighting on the outside, you're not using your jab, you're not controlling the distance, and then you start engaging with someone that is aggressive like McCaskill, they look like they're doing more. When actuality, a lot of shots, a lot of punches were not landing.
I don't know. See, I agree what you're saying though. I mean, it definitely was Brackhouse going into McGaskill's style, but in my opinion, when that happens, that means you're losing the fight. When somebody's style takes over the fight, you're probably losing. Now, unless you're beating them at their own style, which Brackhouse did not.
Yeah,
I just
but
didn't see much landing. When they were inside, it was very messy. It
well,
wasn't like it was like clear punches from McCaskill were landing to me.
yeah,
But
but
I understand what you're saying where she wasn't controlling the ring at that point. If she's engaging with what McCaskill wanted to do, which was to make it ugly. So kudos to McCaskill for making it ugly. Because if she
right,
didn't stuck to Cecilia's game, more than likely, First Lady would have came out with that coveted record. So
exactly. But you got to consider the fact that's Cecilia's that's her main issue. And fight after fight, we've seen it now. Fight after fight, that's her main issue. She always gives in to the style of the other opponent. She doesn't box as much as she needs to. She gets roped into these battles. She gets roped into the fight. There's something inside her when she gets when the other person, when like in this case McCaskill goes after her, she wants to tag her right back. And sometimes you got to realize and understand that you're not better than everybody at the fight. You're not better than taking the fight to everybody. Your best game plan is to sit back and box. And that's been her Achilles heel throughout her career. But you know what? She's gotten by with it. This time she didn't. So that's really what my question is here, Lucas, is did she deserve to lose that fight? I know Shakira's opinion. What's your honest
I
opinion?
mean, in my honest opinion, yeah, she deserved to lose the fight. I mean, just like I said earlier, it seemed like McCaskill was able to get her to adapt to her gameplay, not the other way around. You know, champion should have won that by at least 2 rounds, and I think it was the opposite way for me. I think McCaskill did actually pull off a 2 round win. But that's just me. I mean, boxing is subjective, and it was a very close fight. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, if your style is the one that is the style going on in the fight for most of the fight, that person's having to adapt to you. So unless you're really making a big statement and fighting the way that they fight, and Brackhouse didn't do that to me. I mean, I feel
oh,
I
Lucas,
feel
come on, Lucas,
McCaskill.
don't go out like that. Don't go out like that. You know that's not the way fights are
Let
judged.
him let
I
him let him
Round
say
by
let him
round.
say it.
You know,
I,
it's punches, it's points.
Let him say
and
it.
McCaskill still did that too. McCaskill still did that too. She still outpointed her in my eyes. I don't know. I mean, Sakura, you honestly think she didn't outpoint her?
Right. I did not see a lot of landed punches. I saw a lot of messy inside, roughhousing that didn't equal two actual points. That's what I saw.
I mean, they were both messy. And, if you don't want to be manhandled, then stay on the outside, Brackhouse. She wasn't able to. She wasn't able to keep her off of her. That equals points,
So
too.
so I'm gonna give my take before Lucas goes in on the comments or whatever. But I'm gonna recoin a phrase. To beat a woman, you have to beat the woman, and that didn't happen that night. Brackhouse was the woman, and she was not beat. Yes, she succumbed to the other style from McCaskill, but she did her thing in that style. She should have outboxed her. Instead, she went ahead and went to McCaskill's game plan and took the fight to her. But it still was a close fight. She was not beat that night, and that's why I'm very sad.
And that would have beat the record for who? That was Joe Lewis? Or who was
Mm-hmm.
Joe
who?
Lu-
Yep.
Joe
Joe Lewis.
Lewis,
Wow. Okay, that would have been the most fights won by a reigning titleist.
correct. It
Dang.
was 26. The record was 26.
I mean, but guys, in that fight, did she look a little lackluster to you? Did she didn't look like
Well,
she
that's a,
really, I don't
well,
know what
that's
she was like. It seemed like we're more pumped up about her getting that record than she was.
well. I mean, and that's a good question, Shakura. So let me ask you guys, where does she go from here?
To me, that's a rematch fight. There wasn't no clear winner. I mean, yeah, they made a winner, but there wasn't a clear winner. But the other problem is that, like I said, it could be a setup for somebody that to have all of those titles. I mean, I counted those titles. It was like she had 6 titles in there. I
Yeah.
mean, you got a unified situation where, if she goes up or she stays there and Clarissa comes down, those additional, what is it? 7? I think it's, what a minute, 154 to 147.
I mean, look.
Damn, that's a lot of titles on the line.
I
And if
mean,
she gets her hands on all of those titles,
Go ahead, Lucas. Go ahead.
I'm just, I don't know. Like I said, I believe McGaskill won the fight. However, I agree with you, Sakura. I don't think it was definitive. Nothing's definitive. And yes, you should have a rematch. But I think this is actually a poster fight to change some rules as far as women's boxing is concerned. Whether you're going to go up to the 3 minutes or whether you're going to extend it out to the 12 full rounds. But one of those at least needs to happen now. And then we can talk about maybe moving up to the other one in the future, depending on how this works out. Now, Sakura, coming from you, from a lady, yourself, I want to know which one should they do, because I think change definitely needs to happen. Which one is it, or both?
I mean, I believe it was Ava Knight that said it best when she said she remembered fighting for a title and only got paid $4,000. Then did a title defense for $6,000. I mean, for me and for most of the women fighters that I talk to, they don't have a problem doing that additional minute because they want the additional money. So, I mean, for them, they feel that they go and when they're practicing and they're sparring, they do 3 minutes rounds. So they see no reason why they couldn't do 3 minutes. So for me, I think for them, they most of them, majority of them say, yeah, we could do 3 minutes easy. Their thing is like, why should we do 3 minutes if they're gonna continue, if we're gonna getting paid for like 1.5 minutes? So per round. So for them, it's like a more of a money issue. Like if we go up to 3 minute rounds, are they gonna continue to try to lowball our pay, or does our pay?
Come on, Sakura. Come on, Sakura. That is not why you're getting paid what you're getting paid. We talked about this now. You're not getting paid for time in the ring.
What the fighters say.
No. I don't care what fighters say. I really don't. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Look, boxing is not paid by the hour. This is not a 9-to-5 job. You're getting paid by asses you can fit in the seats and viewers you can fit on that TV. If you're not getting that, then that's what your pay equals out to. I'm sorry, but if you have a huge fan base, nobody's going to be saying, hey, where's my money? Because you're going to have it. Bottom line.
I would like to clarify that by saying we don't know the purse for Cecilia Brackett versus McCaskill yet. But I can assure you they had many eyeballs on them this weekend, and they ass ain't gonna get the pay that you're saying that they're supposed to garner, equivalent to that of the male fans or the male boxers with the same fans that were watching. So let's just see what those numbers are, and if we even get those numbers, and then that'll prove your theory wrong. Is that they still continue?
Unfortunately, it's still not gonna prove it wrong. One, you're missing out on gate. So it's hard to kind of judge that right now. But
men are fighting without gate as well, Lucas.
I understand that, but we haven't seen any big payouts. We haven't seen any big payouts right now for men. I mean, right now.
Are they going to be fighting for 6 titles like they were this weekend?
And a lot of people don't understand that. See, when you're fighting for titles, you have to pay dues. And some of those dues actually equal less money. It honestly just depends. Like, it's supposed to bring more prestige and more audience to you. That's what the belts are there to kind of do. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way. It just depends. But my thing is it's a little bit different in women's boxing. And I honestly don't think anything with, like, the extra minute is going to affect pay. I think that's a completely separate topic. And I think we got technically way off topic. I think we need to get back to it.
No, this was absolutely relevant.
Yeah, it's all relevant.
I'm not saying it's not relevant. I'm simply saying, do we need to go to? We still haven't answered that part. Do we need to go to 12 rounds? Do we need to go to 3-minute rounds? Because
Well,
right
that's the
now,
point, is that the boxers are saying they have no problem doing 3-minute rounds. They can do 3-minute rounds. They practice with 3-minute rounds. But if they're
Yeah,
gonna
that was her
compete and
answer.
get paid
okay,
less, they
okay,
don't want to pay. They don't
okay,
want to do
Sakura.
3-minute
So,
rounds.
would you say now, since they're working less rounds or and less minutes, should that equal less pay then?
Well, they feel like in their mind they can justify it.
I'm asking you. Do you think that's what it should be like?
No, I don't actually, because I feel like if they get in the ring and risk their lives like the men are every week, every time they step in the ring,
But they're in
they
there
should get
less,
paid the same.
right? They're in there
Oh
less.
no, I don't.
They're in there
Look,
less. They
look,
are. It's a
let me
fact.
jump in.
It's a
Let me
fact.
jump in.
No, if you're going for a championship
No,
fight,
no,
it's
no, no,
12
no, no.
rounds,
You asked
12
me my
3-minute
opinion.
rounds.
I'm just telling you my opinion. My opinion is if they get in the ring and risk their life and can be literally rolled out on a stretcher like a man can, then pay them the same thing.
Okay.
That's my basic opinion.
And I don't disagree with you there. I'm just simply saying there's more of a chance for men to do that if you're in the ring longer. Let's go to some comments, though, before Rob starts in. Title fights for women should be 12 rounds. Does the sanctioning body lowball their sanctioning fees? What
Who
needs
was
to
that,
happen to
Lucas?
bring women's boxing into the forefront? Do a show like The Contender so women can get the exposure and recognition they deserve. Dale, that is a really good comment and a really good idea. I mean, I would watch a women's Contender. I think that would be amazing. But then again, I just watch Contender. I mean, I'd love for them to put one on. In fact, do it a men alongside a women's one. I mean, that's going to make for a good show. Let's see. We got. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't read your names in a different language. No. They practice. I can't. 10,000 minute, 41-minute round. I'm not sure.
For
I'm
a
not sure.
1-minute round.
Okay.
For 1-minute rounds. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you now. All right.
But it's still a point of when you get
Well,
in that ring, guys, anything can happen while you're in that ring. It ain't guaranteed that you're going to come out or that you're going to get to the next fight.
Is there ratings yet?
Injuries,
Is there
or
ratings yet for Brackhouse McGaskill?
Not yet. Not yet. I already checked. Not yet. But my take on this all, because I think this is a good topic to get into. I really do. And my take on it all, just to go where I'm going with this one.
Oh, boy.
Screw how long you're in the ring for and all of that. It all equates to what we already said, asses in the seats. So regardless of however many minutes you give them, however much money you period, it's not going to equate to the same. They're not at this point right now. Women's boxing, they're not going to equal the amount of popularity and money generated from men's boxing. Period. And because of that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you give them 12 rounds. It doesn't matter if you give them 3 minutes per round because the money is never going to equate. So from what you're saying, Shakura, if you want more money for more output, put more people in the seats.
You know, I would agree with you, but for the fact that we just saw Top Rank do a whole summer series with hardly no viewership, and those guys and the A side still got paid handsomely.
Let me ask you both.
You guys can come up with something a little bit.
All right. Let's draw this back. Go ahead, Lucas.
Let me ask you both a question, okay? Do you think it is the fighters not getting the viewerships? Let me just put that out there.
I do.
Yes or no, real quick, Sakura. Just yes or no.
I don't.
Okay. I think yes. And the reason I think that is because I think you can have Ronda Rousey say tomorrow she's going to have a boxing pay-per-view and it would probably sell.
I had to drop my head on that because you're taking unicorns in the combat sport world, and that's what she was, a unicorn. And you want every female fighter to live up to that.
No. I'm not.
Like
I agree. She's a little bit on the.
To be a Floyd Mayweather. Like, really?
Look, okay. But to Lucas's point, though, where do you see Cecilia Brackhouse on TV? Outside of boxing, even in the boxing world, they're not promoting fighters right now like that. Not even the men.
Well,
Not
they're not
even the men.
promoting
Hold
male
on, hold on.
boxers
Let me
like that
finish. Let me
either.
finish.
But that's
Not
like, but my point is like they're not doing any more for male boxers right now than they are female boxers.
no, but females should capitalize on that. Females should capitalize on that. Go out and do you a sexy shoot. Get all over
Here
every
we go.
magazine you
Doing
can.
this sex again.
Because it
Oh my
sells.
God.
Because I don't care what y'all say. It sells. It sells. If you see a woman tomorrow, if you see a woman's boxer tomorrow on all kinds of magazine shoots in a bikini, and all these men are gawking over it, and the internet blows up, and then she does a fight next week, everybody's going to see it.
Look, I mean, you gotta kind of agree.
Oh,
What Rob is saying is kind of sexist, yes. But listen, Sakura, you gotta kind of agree with it. Look,
no,
you are.
it's not sexist, but it's just something that we're not requiring male boxers to have to do.
But that's
We're
the
not
problem.
telling the male boxer to go out and do a sexy photo shoot in order to garner more fans for their actual fight. My
Well,
problem is that there's two set of standards that I don't. That's my issue with it. Everything that we're saying is like when you compare it to the male boxers, it's a different set of rules. So that's why I don't like it.
it is. But here's the thing: is
if it's gonna make Rob watch them more because they did a thong shoot the week before, ladies, please go ahead and just take it off.
I strongly feel that Rob is pretty much a common fan. What he's thinking is the common fan thought. Now, in no way am I saying that's the right way of thinking. I'm simply saying that's the way to sell fights. It's honestly boxing, probably 90% male, if not possibly more. I mean, you kind of have to cater to your audience, pander to your audience. It's not right, no, but it's kind of the way it is. And if you're separating women's, and as far as sports goes, it's always kind of been less than as far as viewership. And I'm not talking about just boxing. I'm talking about the WNBA, the LPGA. The list goes on. Why is that? I think it's more women aren't that interested into sports.
We got a few
Mainly.
comments, Lucas.
I did see that. Lamont Sullivan, the networks buy and sign off on every televised fight. They are not paying for fights. They are. Oh, it done scrolled down and I lost it. Hang on. They're not paying for fights. They are paying for ratings. And that's kind of what I was saying, and Rob was saying to you as well. Rob, if I may, the reason why it won't happen because women don't get the exposure. I mean, really, here's my point. When was the last time you saw Clarissa Shields in a commercial or a Wheaties box, all done in the Olympics? Now, look, I agree with that. On the flip side, she's been main evented multiple times. She's had chances as far as boxing is concerned. I will say that she's not getting the outside of the sport exposure. I can't really say that's all necessarily anybody else's fault.
When is the last time we saw a male boxer on a Wheaties box either?
I don't see shit on Wheaties boxes anymore.
Like,
Wheaties is disgusting. Who eats Wheaties?
Okay, you're right. You're right. Let me answer the question though. It's a both question. Sakura, it hasn't happened. Why? Because a male hasn't won the Olympics in how long? It was Clarissa Shields last. Okay, that's why. One, two. Where have you seen a woman out there on commercials and all that? They do it in WWE. They do it in the UFC. And that's where the women's sport sells. It doesn't sell anywhere else. It does sell in combat sports when you market it the right way, aka UFC and WWE.
Sherman Henson.
That's because they're being sexy.
Sherman Henson says neither one of them know what they're talking about. Rob or the other guy, I guess I'm the other guy, knows what they're talking about. And you're paying their big money to women to fight anywhere outside of the United States. Women are making a lot of money for fight.
Hold on, who was
that
his
is
name?
the main place that the ladies go to fight, guys.
What was his name? Hold on, what was his name?
He's a trainer named
Sherman Henson. Yeah.
Sherman, if that's the case, why did Holly Holm go to UFC? She was an international boxer first. She was a boxer that went and made her name primarily in the UFC. That's false.
No, but he is correct about women. Most of the women boxers, they have to mainly be in fights overseas because there's more female
And then
boxing
they right,
matches
and then they turn away,
in other countries.
and then they
So,
turn away,
I
and then
mean,
they turn away.
there's a reason Amanda Serrano is going and doing other sports. There's a reason Holly Holm is going and doing another sport besides boxing. They're not getting paid.
And that was my response to saying that me and Lucas don't know what we talking about, because obviously we do. If you can show me a women fighter that's made as much as a man and they're throughout history, please send that through. All right,
okay, but
let's move on, man.
Yeah.
my point of it was
You can make one last point,
men
Sakura.
deserve to get more money because there are plenty of examples of males fighting right now who got lackluster views that still got their damn ends. They got their coins.
Okay, and we'll take that up. I mean, we'll touch that on next week because we'll have ratings, and then we'll probably have their pay in front
But
of
we
us.
already got ratings for what happened with Top Rank with their summer series.
And we got another comment.
But
It
we
says
have nothing to
basically
compare with.
short and sweet because nobody watch women boxing.
And that's true. And me and Lucas are telling you why. Me and
But yet
Lucas
we
are
just
telling
said
you
we
why.
watched Cecilia Brækhus, and
We'll see.
we're gonna watch. We just said we're
I
gonna
mean,
watch Katie Taylor and Pursoon. We watched Clarissa Shields. We got
all right,
names
Shakur.
of
All right.
boxers that we watch.
We're
All
gonna
right.
see.
We'll get off of it, but like Lucas said, we will see. I'm going to take Benavidez's numbers because it was on the same night now. I'm going to take Benavidez's numbers and compare it to Brocas' numbers. And we'll see if you're right.
And then
Moving
I
on,
have to
guys.
start calculating. I have to start calculating on the networks. And
Moving on. Moving on, guys. Let's go ahead.
Sherman
Carl
Sherman Henson's back. A lot of people watch women boxing. No, they don't. No, not at all. And no again. Go ahead, Rob.
they
Well,
actually
Sherman,
do on the local level. They do locally, but they not doing it when they get to a certain level. The promoters do not want to pay for a high level opponent and have to pay the A side female as well. So
Right.
that's when you start dropping off in numbers. But
And it-
all right,
locally,
all
they do.
right. We beat this to death.
Hold on. One more thing, okay? In no way is heavy bag boxing or any one of us disrespecting women fighting.
Thank you.
I've seen great women fights. We have exclusive women fights on our website and on Facebook and everything else. Like, no. Mary McGee up here in Chicago, we got that specific fight. Check it out. McGaskill, another one. I mean, there's multiple women fighters, and I'm not saying it's not worth watching. I'm simply saying the public does not watch it. Go ahead,
That's
Rob.
good. That's a good way to end it right there.
It is. It is. Period. Um, man, y'all almost made me lose my train of thought.
One more comment, but we're not going to respond to it because we do need to move on. Lucas Sherman Henson again. Lucas and women's boxing is more exciting, if it not just as exciting as women as men. That's
I mean, you're right, but the
no,
point I'm trying to here, I'm moving on.
We
but
gotta
I got the
continue
last
that.
say. The point I'm trying to make is this, y'all. Period. The point I'm trying to make is this.
We
All
almost
of
made
y'all
it.
arguing,
Oh,
all of y'all arguing about it is not helping them. Tell them what they need to do or what they can do to fix it. Moving on.
Oh boy.
This weekend, we also had another card with Carl Frampton on it. Carl Frampton and Mickey Conlan both scored TKO stoppages in their fights. Guys, these are two good names, legitimate names in the division in the sport. They both had awesome KOs. What do you think about that? What do you think about Carl Frampton, Mikey Conley still undefeated there? Both had nice KOs that went under the radar. Shakura, any thoughts on that?
Big Frampton fan, but I have to say I did not get a chance to watch this fight, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I mean, I was going for Frampton, so that's all. That's all I got. I'm happy.
I mean, for me, I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. I mean, obviously, I was excited for Frampton. I always am. And Mickey Conlan, I think, is another one that kind of slips under a lot of people's radar. He's far from a household name, but he's doing what he needs to do, still remaining undefeated. So that's he's doing what he needs to do. I honestly don't have a lot to say about it either, Sakura.
And that's fine because that's why I let
not
the
a lot
other
there,
topic go. That's why I let the other topic
So
go.
maybe we should
But
just do the
but
numbers
Lucas,
for
hold on.
Frampton versus Conlan against Cecilia Bracket's fight. How about that?
Hold on.
Okay. Anyway,
Sherman commented again, says Sakura, thanks for the help.
we appreciate it, Shakura. Listen, I wanted to ask this because it does say, is Conlan ready for a title shot? Again, he's going under the radar. He's still racking up KOs. He's still racking up victories. He's undefeated. He has the Irish fans behind him. So he does turn a good crowd. Lucas, would you want to see him in the title fight?
So it's the question: do I want to see him, or do I think he's ready, or does he deserve it? Which of those am I answering actually?
Would you like to see him in a title fight? For all of those things you mentioned could be your reason why or why not.
I mean, I've watched him fight live in Chicago, and he's an exciting fighter. So sure, I mean, he should make for good TV. I don't understand, why he's not getting a better push. I think he does need to step and fight a little bit better known names before he actually starts to take on title shots. But I mean, I've seen worse. So why not? I mean, he's, as far as the number of fights he's had, I'd say, yeah, he's more than ready.
Shakur, I'll go the other route with you. Carl Frampton. He had a nice KO victory here. Is he ready to get back into top tier level competition? Otherwise, is he ready for a title shot? What do you want to see him do next?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he can have another title shot. I didn't know he was outside of the, top level fighters. He had those two great fights with Leo Santa Cruz, one loss, one win. And I didn't think that he did poorly in that fight. With the second fight with Leo, even though he lost. But it's more of a situation at that weight class. I mean, like you're gonna have to probably move up a level now to get to some of the more A level boxers in that division, because that would be super featherweight now.
Yeah, but I mean, he's lost since then. Since the Lewis Santa Cruz fight, he lost to Josh Warrington, and he hasn't looked great in fights. In fact, this is his first KO in a while, so he really hasn't looked great. So fans were trying to count him out the bigger picture.
Okay,
I'll even
well,
throw
I
this.
think I'll just say this. I'm gonna keep it to this level here. Does Frampton have a name that garners people's eyeballs and all these fans in the seats that you guys are talking about? That men
Well,
have.
I'll put it here. I'd like to see this fight. I'd like to see Carl Frampton and Abner Mares get his ass out from Showtime seat, and I'd like to see that fight. I think that fight would be a great fight. I'd like to see Abner Mares in the ring and not outside of it right now.
Did you see Abner Mares' eyes right now? He does not need to be fighting anybody.
He just needs to get back
I'm
into shape,
sorry.
okay? Let's move on, guys. This weekend, you have another hot topic that we like to discuss. Your favorite boy, Shakira, Dillian White. We have him going up against Povetkin because let's face it, none of the heavyweight title holders want to give him a shot for whatever reason.
Mm.
Guys, what's your quick prediction on this fight? We'll start with Lucas.
I mean, I don't know where to go with this fight. I've been back and forth, but honestly, just a quick prediction. I think Dillian White actually wins narrowly on points. I really don't see a knockout happening either way. Povetkin is pretty durable dude, and I think White's better overall, but I don't know, man. This honestly is for me a 50-50 fight. It could go either way, but I'm gonna go with a close fight and Dillian White coming out on top.
Shakura, what are your predictions?
Yeah, I have to concur. I agree with Lucas. I believe that Jillian is either going to get some type of KO situation or it's going to be a decision that's going to favor Jillian White.
Okay, guys, well, I'm going the opposite way. Povetkin, I pick, is going to be the winner. I think it's going to be a tough fight. It's going to look close. It's going to be boring in spurts. Let's face it, it's a Dillian White fight. But I think Povetkin, based off of what I've seen against him against Anthony Joshua, I think he's a tough opponent for Dillian White. I think this actually finally stops the Dillian White Express, and he no longer has a voice in the matter in the heavyweight division. I'm picking Povetkin. Let's see if
Well,
that is true.
that would be an interesting situation if that did happen, being that he was in pursuit of WBC, making a title shot with the winner of Wilder versus Fury 3. So, like, if he doesn't come out with this win, then WBC gets to say, well, now we don't have to like honor that, which we said before, because you have a loss again. So I'm like, that would be an interesting situation to develop. But that's why I'm pretty sure that it's like gonna be a situation where we see Dillian White wanting to make sure that he closes this door for Povetkin.
I
I'm
also want
praying
to
that
point
happens,
out
Shakur. I'm
that this.
praying that happens.
I also want to point out this is for two WBC belts, an interim and then a diamond.
Yes.
I can't I can't roll my eyes any harder. But go ahead, Rob.
Well, they had to give him something because of the fact that they've pushed him off so long with him being that number one contender for the WBC heavyweight title. So they had to come up with something to placate him in the in between time of Fury versus Wilder, which hasn't been announced for a date yet, by the way.
Or to keep him motivated. Shakur,
Clarence says, "My man Rob, anything can happen." And then another person says, "Exactly, Clarence."
Yeah.
Povetkin, y'all heard it here first. I've called a few. Shakura, let's go ahead and keep the momentum going with you here. Let's do your tweet of the week. Go ahead and cue it up, Lucas.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we were talking about Dan. Wow, I got so much stuff up here. Um, Dan Rayfield, the ex ESPN writer, journalist. I mean, well, how can we say this about Dan? Dan was the forefront for ESPN on boxing schedules, boxing events, boxers, and he was terminated. Apparently, because he had some things to say derogatorily against Top Rank. But then he had said some things on a latest tweet. And let me just get back to it right quick. He's basically defending himself and other people in the media about if you need to be in the ring with someone, if you need to have had experience in the ring to be a good boxing commentator slash boxing, well, just working boxing outside the ring on in a media perspective. So, I mean, what do you guys are thinking? I'm gonna read the quote and then of what he said, and then we can actually, talk about whether or not he has a point or not. I'm still having a problem getting to it,
All
Lucas.
right. Well, let's see. Dale actually commented, "Ditto, Rob. That Dillian White train should have been derailed a long time ago. Two belts, diamond interim WBC belt." Shaking my head. Yeah, I definitely agree with the last part. We're gonna see about the Dillian White. Honestly, I think it's a 50-50 fight. But Rob, it sounds like you got some backers there, and I think we might have to start our predictions back up. Sakura, I don't think you were
Oh,
around when
really?
we did that, but we would do actually keep track of our predictions, and we had racked up big numbers, like what our records were and everything for our predictions.
Yeah, I think I was on up on the top tier. I feel like I was top three,
I don't think
maybe
so.
two,
I don't think so.
maybe two.
You try to predict too many upsets, Rob. But with this fight, I'm not so sure it's necessarily that huge of an upset. Should you come out correctly on this one? But
That's
we
true.
might
For
have to bring that
Povetkin,
back. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we got Bad Beats Boxing on Twitter saying, Dan, just curious, why you reply is settle down. Boxing objectively has the most disrespectful media in all sports by far. Not naming names. It's one thing to criticize bad judges and refs in the heat of the moment, but the criticism of fighters often is way overboard. And then, Dan came back and said this. You don't need to have box to know about boxing. Same for any sport a writer or a broadcaster covers. It's a lazy narrative that attempts to belittle what we do. I've covered boxing for almost as long as Teofimo has been alive. I have paid my dues and know what the fuck I'm doing. So, my
So
point on this is okay, yes, you can have a career in boxing, but I mean, you can have a career in boxing as a journalist, as somebody outside the ring with boxing. There's plenty of boxing careers out there that involve people that actually didn't get into the ring. But my golden rule is you must show respect for the fact that a boxer gets into the ring not knowing if they're going to really get out the ring. So if you're writing for media, if you're writing for journalists, if you whatever it is you're doing, judging, commentating, whatever it is, I think it's a good point of reference that you remember your ass ain't get in there. You never experienced being toe to toe with one man going up against somebody in that form and then not knowing whether or not you coming home to your people. So you need to always show respect in that manner. Now, what should you lie about a boxer or should you keep negative news about a boxer to yourself? Absolutely not. You have a professional opinion, but there's a respectful way to say certain things. It's been a few times that I've heard individuals that are boxing media say really, really disturbing things that show no respect for boxers or the sport. So I'm just saying, let's be clear. If you didn't get in the ring, you need to have respect for those that are.
All
okay,
Now,
right, we got a comment that says, "You name it, darling." So I think he's agreeing with you there.
oh, okay.
Lucas, your opinion?
Lucas?
If you
I
briefly.
mean, yeah, Dan's right. I mean, you don't necessarily have to. I think if you do, I think it can only help. I know I've threw around the idea several times of getting in the ring and doing other stuff, but boxing's a deep sport. And again, just because you fight means you only know a little bit of an aspect of the sport. Boxing writing is not just even about the sport itself. You have to actually cover the promotions and the business side of it, not just the sporting side. So it's a little bit deeper, a little bit different. Now, I think if someone were to box, it could only help these things. It could only help your narrative, your writing, and any other things you want to pursue as far as be boxing related is concerned. But I definitely agree with Dan. I mean, it's not basically saying like if you're not in the ring, you're just discrediting all these writers and commentators and everybody that's come before us, and that's a slap in the face of a lot of people if you say that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times where we'll be in there and all of us guys will be reviewing fights for 4 or 5 hours, and you got some boxers that swear they don't watch no tapes. They don't watch anything with boxing. Or you got somebody like Ann Wolf that says she hasn't even watched a boxing fight in so many years.
Yeah.
So like you know what I'm saying? Like we invest a lot of our time and extra effort in knowing specific fights.
But
Right.
I mean, boxing media does get out of hand, and the word bum is thrown around a little too often, and a little bit too much disrespect. I mean, let's face it, a lot of these people wouldn't be saying that shit if they're nose to nose with some of these fighters.
So
That's
my
true.
take is a little different. I'm the other way. You'd probably be mad at me, Shakura, but look, boxing is a spectator sport as well as a blood sport. And when you look at combat sports like boxing, even back to the gladiator days, you have people wanting blood, screaming for blood. And if they don't see it, you're a coward. If they don't experience it, you're a coward or a bum, as Lucas just said. I think that the boxing writers that we've had throughout past in history have all been great writers. Not just for the sport of boxing, but just great writers, period. You absolutely don't have to have stepped in the ring. You do have to have stepped in the ring to understand what a fighter is going through as far as mentality, physicality wise. Yes, that helps. But no, you don't. It's not a major aspect of the sport. I think it should be separated within writers and boxers. I think in boxing, there's something great that they have to where it's very much separated to where all the writers that you have, for the most part, aren't or haven't been in the ring before. I actually don't like seeing Abner Mares in the commentator booth. I don't like to see fighters that are active in the commentator booth. I prefer to see fighters who are retired and gone on and own in on that skill to actually be commentating. I don't like to see fighters that get there just on notoriety because they've been in the ring before. If you have nothing to bring to the table commentary wise, you shouldn't be there. That
Well,
being said, let's go to the eye candy part of
I
the
don't even
show.
have nothing to say to that because you so like you blew my mind with boxing shouldn't commentate.
Active boxers. I'm not saying that. Okay, let me reiterate because she just put out a statement there. No, I'm saying that if they own the skill of writing and commentary and broadcasting, then
Yeah.
yes, they should be there. If they don't own the skill, don't be there because there's too many fighters out there that say stuff that are so off the wall, off the cuffs. With that being said, how many times have we heard Chris Mannix go after Sergio Mora? I rest my case.
And I mean, just because you fight doesn't automatically mean you make out to be a good commentator either.
Thank
Mm.
you. Let's go to the eye candy segment.
Said Abner, a 3-time champion, he brings nothing to the table. Get the fuck out of here. Rob is on point tonight. So James said that Abner Moore is a 3-time champion. He brings nothing to the table. Get the fuck out of here. Claire says Rob is on point tonight. So
Oh, Clarence is on your side for a change. See,
Look, how
Mary
many
Kay.
times how many times did you hear them have to call Abner's name in that broadcast because he was just silent? They're like, Abner, what is your Abner? Abner. He wasn't talking halfway through the show.
well, I mean, he is new to the game. Let's give him a little bit of slack there. It's
He
not like
should
he
not be
commenting
there.
all the time.
He should not be there. Bring Paulie
He's
back.
injured.
He had a very he was a retired fighter. Uh he had a very great commentator.
Sherman Henson says that's true, Rob.
Thank you all.
If
See,
you're an
see,
active fighter and you have an injury, why shouldn't you make extra coins by doing commentating if you're good at it? If
because
he's
the injury
bad,
may make
then
you
that's a different
slow.
story.
Hate to
James
say it. Hate to
James
say it.
James says because he is starting and learning, and I do agree there. Like I said, I think he is still new, so maybe it'll pan out. I mean, jury's still out.
That being said, Abner, please come on the show one day.
After you just
Shakura,
said he should, yeah, it's something else.
Shakura, let's go into your eye candy.
Oh
Oh
yes, it's
man.
my week for eye candy, guys. So that's why it is a male that I will be featuring tonight. I have the gorgeous Jose Ramirez. I like this guy for many reasons. Well, first of all, of course, he's handsome and debonair, but this is also somebody that's got an amazing record. Okay, he's 25 and 0. He got 17 KOs. He goes to the body. I love boxers that know how to work on that body. So I like it. I like that style. Now, what's interesting is that he is the current WBC and WBO super lightweight title holder. And the other thing that's really cool about him is he's a humanitarian, guys. He helps to bring awareness to immigrants' rights. He helps to try to help the dreamers become American citizens. So I always love a boxer that has a humanitarian effort to them and thinks of others besides themselves. And he currently has a fight that we've been waiting to see coming up with Victor Costa. Now, I'm happy about this fight. I think it's an easy win for Ramirez. However, if he gets through him, I think that it's a good setup for him versus Regis Prograis, who wants a title before leaving 140 to go up to 147. So I'm hoping and praying that this instigates a huge Facebook outcry for Jose Ramirez versus Regis Prograis. And that's my eye candy for the week.
All right, well stated, guys. Just a little topic on that. Regis Progress did just now announce that he is a free agent. He's leaving Lou DiBella Entertainment, so be on the lookout for some moves there. I have my personal opinion what I think he's trying to do, but that's just a side note.
Well, he does
Lucas,
have beef with AB too. And I hear that it could be Premier Boxing.
which is what I believe he's going to. I believe he's looking at PBC, not only just because of that Adrian Broner fight. I believe that he knows where the real money is at, and that's in the 147 division. That's my opinion.
That's correct. And let's point out too that he was scheduled to fight Hooker before he left the division, citing he could not make weight. But he waited
Absolutely.
about 2 months too late after they had an entire training camp to tell him that.
Absolutely. Lucas, you ready for rapid fire?
Yep, I already got your logo up and everything.
Shakira, you ready for rapid fire?
Well, Lucas never even told me what he thinks of my eye candy.
I mean, I like them, but not for the same reasons you like. Oh man,
Some of the same reasons. Humanitarian, going to the body.
the rest of it, just not his body. That's all.
Very simple.
Guys, I'm ready for rapid fire. Let me reiterate the rules here, because
Hang
we
on,
only.
Rob. You got to come with a good one. Can you give us a hint of who it could be? Who's your eye candy for next week?
Man, I was gonna go with the first lady, man, but she ruined it for me, y'all. She ruined it.
No. Oh, so she's still gorgeous even if she ain't got the title.
But she lost.
You didn't tell me that the eye candy couldn't lose.
Go.
You already know how I feel.
All right, Rob.
Rapid fire. So again, guys, these are just topics I run off at random. I feel like a couple of these might get some rants going on here. So if I have to stop people, I will do it. Fans there at home, please chime in with your opinions. This week, I promise no foolishness. I don't have nothing stupid under the bag. These are all legit topics that I just want your opinion on.
Man, I swear, if there's any like
You
"who's the
say that
gravy on your
every
mashed
time.
potatoes" question, I'm gonna be mad.
Look, let's start this off fast and hot.
All
I
right.
told you we was going back to this. So, guys, this is just hypothetical, but your opinion. Should fighters that can't make weight be required to move up in weight? Shakura, since you're passionate about this weight bullying topic, let's start with you.
Maybe it should be like a two-time situation, and you're moving your ass up. Maybe that would stop some of these shenanigans.
My problem is who's going to enforce it? Who are we talking about? What's going to happen? Nobody's going to enforce it because there is no enforcing in boxing. There is no enforcing. The bullshit that fucking Canelo did, okay, fighting at 155 for like 2 or 3 fights in a row. It's it will never not be an issue in boxing, unfortunately, unless it is overseen like federally or something like that, where because you're going to have one boxing commission, and if they're being assholes, you're just going to do a Floyd Mayweather and say, I'm not going to fight in there. I'm just going to fight over here. I'm just going to fight in Nevada and Las Vegas only, and I'm not going anywhere else. They do what I like, therefore I'm going to stay there. There is no one to hold anybody responsible, and it is angry. Do I think that they should be made to get out of that weight division? Yeah. I mean, nobody should be fighting at catch weights constantly, or what the hell's the point? What are we doing here? Just my take on it.
Wow, he
I
sounded more
love that.
passionate than me.
I love that passion. Shakura, he definitely got you on that one.
Mm.
Um, you know what? Here's my take on it. I've said this before and I've gotten in trouble for saying this on the show before. Weights to me have no bearing in boxing. I don't care about the weights. At a certain aspect, I think that you should be able to fight at anywhere between 140 to 154, and it doesn't matter.
Oh, Rob.
I think we have too many weight divisions. I think we have too many weight divisions because we have too many sanctioning bodies. We have too many sanctioning bodies because we have too many titles. We have too many titles because why? Why do we have the titles? I absolutely don't agree with that. I think that weight in the sport of boxing, to me, at a certain point, does not matter.
You're
Man,
gonna get somebody killed, and you think that
That was my
matter?
opinion. I'm allowed to it. It's rapid fire. Let's move on.
You're gonna get somebody killed. And if weight didn't matter, I mean, how do you explain a Fury at what 280 something, almost 290 something, and Wilder down at 230 something? That's a huge weight difference. If it wasn't heavyweights, somebody wouldn't even been there. I mean, they wouldn't even approve that fight.
And Wilder still managed to knock him out in the first fight. Anyway, let's move on with the next topic. Lucas, we got any fanfare on that one?
well, we do have some. Let's see. Floyd Mayweather change all the weights. Somebody else said no. Let's see. Roy Jones Jr. also. Sherman Henson, you guys are right on tonight, all except for the women boxing. Yeah, us and Sherman got into that one. We might have to talk about that again next week. I think there's a lot still left to talk about, especially between me and Sakura. I think we had to cut it short. We don't have all night, so Clarence says his connections. He said, Clarence says my connection's bad, so I can't hear everything. Um, all right, so yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, guys, this next topic is an interesting one because I don't know how much truth is in it. Gary Russell Jr. calling out Terrence Crawford, actually saying that him and Al Heyman sent an offer to Terrence Crawford for that fight to be made. Guys, is this Terrence Crawford first chance at going after a PBC fighter? And if so, is there truth to this and why? Shakura?
This is just so dumb to me. There are so many people he can call out closer to his actual weight, which right now he went to super featherweight, so he could call out lightweights like a rematch with Lomachenko. And not only that, it's like, why would Bud even want to engage in such foolery? Even if he was to beat him in a real match, it's not going to be like he's going to be praised for fighting and beating a little Gary Russell. And Gary Russell, I hope is just doing this as a tactic in a way to garner some attention onto his actual fight and his real weight class. So I'm just like, really, Gary?
Lucas, what are your feelings about this?
Oh man. I mean, if Gary says it's real, I believe Gary. I mean, I think he may want it, but I don't think he understands. He's gonna have to jump all the weight classes, and it's just not worth it. I mean, they say they sent an offer. I mean, if he's serious about it, then I'm serious. I think he's you got to take the man at his word, but that don't mean I think it's a great idea. One, I've been wanting to see Terrence Crawford in some other matches, like Sakura was saying. I mean, if he does beat Gary Russell, we're not all gonna be like, oh man. I mean, if they were the same weight, then yeah, we would be like, damn, that's a good ass win. But it's not a fight that I think warrants any viewership or any real attention to it.
Right, and I really hope that they're trying to make a Bud versus Keith Thurman match and not even entertaining this Gary Russell shenanigans.
Clarence says Gary wants that smoke. Sherman Henson says Gary is dead serious about it. So, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter what we think. Do the fans want to watch it? And, I mean, they're two names, two pretty big names. You put them in a match and pay-per-view, and I don't know. I mean, people wanted to see Mikey Garcia take on Errol Spence for some reason. I didn't. I already knew that wasn't going to work out. But
I just thought it was more easier to believe that was a good matchup because at least Mikey was at 140 at the time. Like what we're looking at, I mean that's just one weight class difference. We're talking about somebody coming all the way from 126.
That's true.
147. Come on.
Let's see. Clarence says, "Oh well, yeah." Clarence says people acting like they won't pay to see that, but they will. Dale, Gary needs to be careful what he wishes for. You might not like what you get. Definitely agree there. Sherman, I'm here in Washington, D.C. Where Gary at, and I'll stop by and talk to Greg about it. And Lamar Sullivan says, y'all tripping, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gary Russell, slow your roll. Slow your roll.
I mean, Gary has the right to call out whoever he wants. I'm just simply saying it's not that weight class. I mean, it is a big jump. It's a big jump. I mean, more power to him. I mean, he has fastest hands. My question to both of you would be, one, if he does do it, you think you'd be able to not just put on water weight, move up correctly, and actually be able to hurt Crawford? Because we already know he's got the speed, and we already know he's got the skill. Gary has both. The only problem is, could he be able to hurt him at that higher weight?
It's sad to say because Bud got the same attributes at 147, though. So that's not a fight that he should be trying to consider.
Okay,
but I was interested, Rob, what you was thinking about this now?
Hang on. Lamont says Gary got that smoke and the walk around weight is about the same because neither are that big. And then Sherman Henson says that's Gary.
Yeah, 2 words. Hell nah. Y'all obviously are some Gary Russell Jr. supporters in the house right now with these fans out here. But hell to the nah.
I mean, that's all you got to say.
Let's move on.
There's no denying Gary's skill, but you didn't answer my question. So you basically just said no, he can't hurt him.
There's a difference between Mikey Garcia going up to fight Errol Spence. Mikey was undefeated. Gary has a loss.
To Lomachenko.
Doesn't matter. He has a loss.
Lomachenko.
He has a loss. For me, that's the nail in the dagger right there. Once you get that loss at that weight, at a lower weight, you are no longer valid to me for moving up, my friend.
Dang.
Got another comment. Weight means a lot. Weight does mean a lot. It does. That's the only question. Like we said, Gary's got the skills to compete, no doubt. with Crawford
True.
in my eyes. And
So
he's
look,
got the speed. The only question is, can he keep the speed and actually get enough power to hurt Crawford at that weight? And I don't know.
well, I mean, I think he can
I
keep
don't
the
see it.
speed, but the power
Let's
ain't
see.
gonna
Let's
be
see
there.
though. Can Crawford still make 140?
I believe so.
It could be a catch weight.
I believe so.
He probably could, but why would he?
Why not? I mean,
I mean, cause
let's
like
face
you
it.
said, if he beats you,
Crawford needs
it's
a
gonna be
name.
impressive.
Crawford
All
needs a
right,
name.
I'm
And if you
calling.
meet halfway, it's a little bit more impressive. Now, if you making little Gary go up to 147 and fight, that's a lot less impressive.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I
Bud
gotta
is
call
not
it.
like trying to make him do anything. He's concentrating on other welterweights that's with established names that he needs.
All right. Sherman
Like,
Henson says, and Terrence and Keith Thurman. Oh, it moved on me. Sorry. Terrence and Keith Thurman. God.
oh, another one happened.
Again, too many. Keith Thurman would not be a good fight. I know Gary personally. Clarence says, tell you what, Gary is no Gamboa. Sherman again. Rob, Muhammad Ali had losses. Sugar Ray Leonard had losses. Come on, man, wake up. And Rudy, what up, fellas? What's up, Rudy? Miss you, buddy.
Hey, what's up, Rudy? Sherman, you're absolutely right. But do you know who had no losses? Do you know who had no losses? Floyd Mayweather Jr. Okay, thank I rest my case.
Well, my case
The
was
last topic. The last topic.
Oh my
The
god.
last topic, so we can get done.
He mentioned heavyweights, Rob. You were talking about
Can
when
we
they're
get
at
done
lower
with
weight.
this?
When
Can
they're
we
at a
get
lower
done
weight,
with this? I'm done with this. Last topic for rapid fire because this is a big one right here. We have to talk about this before we end the show.
Rudy says, what's Rob up to now?
right, right, exactly.
Rorando Ramirez defeated Jackson Martinez by a unanimous decision on the undercard of David Benavidez. If this was not a robbery, I don't know what is anymore. Listen to these scorecards: 115, 113, 116, 112, and 118 to 110 in a fight he absolutely lost. What is it going to take, Shakura? We all saw the fight. Lucas saw the fight. I saw the fight. Shakura saw the fight. What
Yeah,
is it going to take?
I was so like, I swear to God, I think the judges actually got the names mixed up. It sounded like the scores you read out were for Jackson instead of Rowley. I couldn't believe that. I could not believe that they had him so far behind on that one card. I mean, what was it, 117? Um,
118, 110.
yeah, so it was like something ridiculous. I'm like, oh my God, like they just flipped the damn scorecard. You know, there's something to be said when you have a boxer and you want to claim like, oh, but I had more power shots, which is what Rolly was saying. But in actuality, where were those power shots? He missed a lot of punches in that particular fight, round per round. When you're counting up the punches, the power punches, it was not as many um, as his counterpart uh, Morene had did. So what the hell was going on with those judges that night? And then to add insult to injury, now the WBA wants to mandate a rematch now. But my thing is with these type of situations is this. The boxer who won the fight has to keep that L on their record. Yeah, you offered me a rematch. Awesome. I'm going to get to prove that I'm better than him again. Great. But what do you do about the L when this guy had no losses on his record, who now has to tote around one L? And we just had an example from Rob about how he feels when he sees that one loss even on someone's record. We see that people are not, most people are going to look at that one and say, oh, he lost a one fight, not realizing that this guy really won that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the
Lucas.
problem that I have with when these scores are obviously and apparently so blatantly wrong. It's like you're not correcting the problem. Yes, WBA, thank you for giving him another opportunity to win that interim title. However, that does not solve the problem for me of you having a L on this man's record like this when he pretty much dominated the entire fight.
we
Like,
got we got
I,
some comments.
that's it's disgusting to me
Yeah.
that we think it's okay. Everybody was placated as soon as they said, "Oh, well, we're scheduling a rematch." Everybody's like, "Oh, okay, that's good." No, it's not fucking good. This guy's got an L on his record for and shouldn't.
No, I agree with you completely. Before I get to my opinion on it, let's read some things here.
Sorry, I
Sherman,
got this
Rob,
texting it.
Rob Floyd ducked a lot of fighters. You know that, right? Rudy says Ryan smokes Raleigh, and them judges got free passes to Floyd's strip clubs. uh, Dale, Dale, it's going to take the federally regulated commission to overturn these bogus decisions, not just in drug testing. Come on, this isn't hard. Now you got to agree with them, but here's the thing: is they went back and had reviews for Pacquiao Horn. Why can you not go back and review this fight? This is one that I think needs it. I mean, is it not? This one is one that is basically should be the staple for that fight. There was no audience, no one to sway these judges, unless the audience was Raleigh himself with all the pam, bam, bam, bam. And I hate that shit. I hate that shit. It is. I understand fighters do it and why they do it. It's just slightly annoying. And when you listen to that, maybe that's what swayed him. I don't know. But other than that, all I can say is these judges are blind, and this really should be reviewed by the Athletic Commission, by other
Absolutely.
judges,
I agree with you.
possibly overturned because, as you were saying, Sakura, this is not. This is ruining reputation of a fighter. Clearly, everybody else saw saw something else, a different decision than what they saw, and the scores wasn't even where it should be either. Way off.
When that
And
happened with Laura versus Williams, Paul Williams, and he had to put in a dispute to get them to review the fight. It still was a situation where it became a no contest instead of him winning that fight.
Hey, a
So
no contest though is better than a loss.
lost. Yeah, it is. I mean, but that's as far as they were willing to go. Like they weren't willing to be like, you know what? Yeah, one of our judges fucked up. You need to get your W. But instead they just was like, all right, well we just gonna take this L off your record at least, and it'll be a no contest. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
got a problem with our system that's not willing to admit when something is wrong.
Yep.
yeah, my honest opinion on it, they already picked a winner before they even stepped into the ring. According to what Romero said, just what you reiterated, Shakira, I had the more power shots. Where was the power at? I didn't see any power from you at all whatsoever. And then he even dissed his opponent by saying he did nothing. He did plenty to you in that fight. He did what's called boxing. He didn't get hit by any powerful shots that really hurt him, and he hit you, and he hurt you, and it was evident by your face at the end of the fight as you're giving the interview to Showtime. So this was obviously bought by the powers that be prior to going into this fight. It was two undefeated fighters, and that's absolutely should not happen.
I swear I had to hold back laughter when you said your face. I like that. I mean, listen, guys, you tell me, who would you rather have been in that fight, Lucas?
You already know.
Martinez, obviously
There it is.
Martinez, absolutely
Rudy says
Martinez.
some rounds were tough to score, but that 118 to 110 scorecard was crap. That's not crap. That's highway robbery. That's what that is.
And then to further insult, the trainer also apparently started saying negative things when he was asked about the performance of Martine, however you say his last
Marinus.
Marine.
Marinez.
Marine, I'm sorry. So like he had to say something like, "Oh no, I don't, respect him for nothing." I mean,
Well, they better in the rematch because he's probably gonna get his ass kicked. But that's my opinion. Guys, that's all I
Rolly
had.
also talked shit to Ryan Garcia, and then Oscar De La Hoya was like, "Man, forget it. We got bigger fish to fry." Like I don't even
Right,
want to waste times with Rolly. He's like,
right,
a non-factor in what we got going on, basically.
right.
And I
Well,
have to agree with him at this point after seeing that performance.
well, it is a nasty sport. Just to say firsthand from me and Lucas, we've been into a lot of ringside action. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen ghost knockouts. And when I say by that, Lucas knows what I'm talking about. I'm saying you see a punch that obviously hit air and then somebody gets knocked out. We've seen decisions that where a guy was getting pummeled the whole fight, somehow got a decision victory after getting his ass kicked and almost dying in the ring, we thought at one point. So it is a bad nasty sport. With that being said, that's all I have for y'all tonight. Everybody, it was a pleasure for the heavy bag boxing. Again, for Lucas Bigger, Shakura, Robert Alexander, it's been a pleasure. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next Tuesday.
Thank you all for tuning in. Bye.